What's up guys, Killa here, welcome back to another game on the Gwenology account. This time we're up against Kane. Runes should be on screen now, and I started this recording off a bit earlier than normal because we have a lot to discuss. So first off, this build is not my own, this is a build by Kuribos on Twitter. And basically the idea is to utilize all the extra movement speed you gain from Lichbane and Storm Surge to rotate to side lane sooner and push those out or make it to plays sooner. And it also provides so much flat penetration that you're basically just dealing true damage off of your needles and passive to the point you're just melting everyone at the same exact time. So like the Mordekaiser's gonna get gray screened as soon as the Seraphine shields don't really do anything. But speaking of Seraphine, they are gonna look for my Kaisa. She will beautifully dodge that E. While we're waiting for jungle camps to spawn, I would just like to announce that for the next 27 days, I have a sponsorship from Raid Shadow Legends. They're a free-to-play mobile game, and if you use my link down below on a new account, it helps me out financially to help pay for my editor and other expenses. Just playing through the tutorial helps me out so much, and if you end up enjoying the game and wanting to grind it, if you can reach level 40 within the sponsorship days, I am offering free coaching to anyone that can achieve that. Just please be sure to join my Discord so I can track you properly. Just shoot me a DM or at me saying that you did it or you want to go for it. And just pick the wizard at the start of the tutorial. I chose the orc and I'm struggling at around level 25 or so. I'm doing this grind along with you because I'm honestly enjoying the game quite a bit. And use promo code Monkey King to unlock Wukong. He's really broken. Anyways, back to the vid. Jungle camps, we're going Raptors, Krugs to red. The reason we're doing this is because it's better cycling. And what I mean by that is Raptors will respawn sooner than red buff. So you want to try to make Krugs and Raptors spawn near the same time. So that way you're not waiting for the Krugs or waiting for the Raptors. So we're going to go Raptors to Krugs so they're better in synced, and then the red buff will spawn about 5 minutes from now. And it just makes it cycle a bit more. Now we are pathing odd here because we just saw Kane on a ward. I wasn't really paying attention mid-game. I just pressed tab and saw 4 CS, and I immediately thought to myself, okay, Kane went from Raptors to my top side. I had no idea when he did that. I just know that my ward was down and there was nowhere else he could have shown. So I'm going to snag whatever camps I can right here just to try to mitigate some of the losses that Kane's doing to me. I'm assuming my entire top side's gone right now. Like my wolves, my gromp, and my blue. They're just all gone. But we end up finding Kane here. And that immediately makes me think, okay, he took one camp and dipped, and it's very weird that he would do that. We're just going to Ghost away to guarantee the fact that we don't give him 300 gold. Right now, losing our double buffs would suck a lot. And unfortunately, Viego rotates from mid at 330. Very unfortunate, but we're going to get an Amp Tome, Dark Seal. Just run back to top, 18 CS, so that tells me that Kane did Raptors, my blue, his red, wolves, and then he snagged like 2 minions off of his own laners, because it's at 18, and 18 divided by 4 does not equal a whole number, so if you're ever playing the jungle and you don't know how to count CS in the early game, just divide by 4. If it's not a whole number, they stole some CS somewhere, and then whatever number is closest, that's typically how many camps they took. But we're just going to snag the scuttle here. Wait, what? Raptors. Oh, his wolves are up. I'm misremembering this game. Yeah, so his wolves are up. He skipped his wolves and went to go check his blue and gromp immediately. That makes sense. But my camp cycling on the top side is a little screwed because of that. As you guys can see, the gromp is just going to chill there for a very long time. But I knew that King could potentially contest these, so I wanted to just get over there ASAP. I meant to ping right there, but I accidentally pinged Warwick, so thankfully he didn't get upset. Mental is OP in the game, especially this split. This split is unfortunately like very hit or miss. You are getting into late game much more consistently, which is nice for champions like Gwen, like Smolders, like Aurelion Souls. But the problem is you have a lot less agency. Because the games are lasting so long, let's say a laner goes like 4-0, right? And they can accelerate the game. The problem is it's so much harder to end because there's so much less damage that the 4-0 doesn't really matter because you can't do anything with it because there's just a lack of damage. So that being said, like you can just perma-clear waves in the side. You don't even need to be a wave clear champion this patch. It just kind of happens. I see Kayn up here. I'm a little hesitant to start the grubs, and then I just see him recall, and I'm just like, okay. Because my original thought here was, okay, we're going to snag one and dip, because he's just going to run into the wall and then come contest us, but then he starts setting up a freeze. Then Kayn's moving down, and I'm really worried. I'm like, oh, I gotta grab the second one and go, but then Kayn walks back top to try to fix this wave, and he's just kind of trolling at this point. He chose CS over Grubs, and that's just not really worth it. Like, the freeze does screw my Warwick over a bit, but as you guys can see, Mordekaiser has Oblivion Orb, and that's just a terrible buy considering Mordekaiser has Ignite this game, and he's just wasting 800 gold because he doesn't need the Grievous Wounds. He just has to respect the Warwick for 2.5 minutes and then apply Ignite. So just complete Boris diff, who's the shopkeeper. Apparently not a lot of newer players know that the shopkeeper's name is Boris, but it's been like that for years. Finally fixing the top side of our jungle here. We're able to get the Grump in the Wolves resynced. Beautiful Bard roam here. It goes going to flash, gonna ult. And here there's only one position he can go, and that's looping all the way around, so I'm trying to track him as best as I can, but obviously we can't see him. We end up finding the Viego again, Bard being the Giga Chad, gifting me the kill, the 400 doubloons in our pocket, and we are off to an amazing start this game. We have a needlessly large rod purchase if we're just able to snag another camp or two, and King could get the dragon, but he chooses to hop the wall and contest to my red, and I think to myself, okay, I'm fine with letting him do that because I can clear these at the same time, and then I can just call my laners over, and we can just stop him. My Kai'Sa starts going a little bit sooner than I wanted. I wanted to clear my camp because I knew that I could just wall hop smite this whenever I wanted, but works out. We deny Kayn the red, we waste his time. Unfortunately, though, we did kind of waste Kai'Sa ult. If we waited for Bard, I really think we did have that, but now it's just a little scary for my bot lane to play, but hopefully they can circumvent the lack of ults. Because Kai'Sa ulted, I feel obligated to try to, like, hover this, because we did see Kayn down here, and I'm a little bit worried, even with all the vision, that he could just walk through walls and try to stop them. But again, Giga Chad Bard. Like, this Bard, like, carried the early game with his roams and that beautiful stun on the Seraphine. But here, I'm gonna pick up a large rod. That's 140 AP already at 9 minutes. 4 stacks on the Dark Seal. If you can't afford the Aether Wisp, it's genuinely a great idea to go Dark Seal. Like, there's so much TDM in ranked that even if you don't get 10 stacks, just getting a handful of them is super nice. Alright, and here we are gonna just look for some information here. We end up finding the Raptors are up, so I'm just want to snag these and dip. I see Viego here, and my thought process is if Viego's still showing on the map, then Kayn doesn't know I'm here, because Viego would just immediately path to me, and they would 2v1 me, if he were to have seen me. Then here we're going to try to look for this Viego again. He's going to ult during the stun. Beautiful, unstoppable mechanics. Love to see it. I start pinging for the Void Grubs, but I realize that my Warwick is in a pretty dire situation. I don't really want to gank ever. I only want to do the guaranteed stuff. So that mid play, for example, even though it looked like Viego could have escaped, we just had so many numbers on him that it was a guaranteed play. Only now do I consider looking up there, but then again, my mid laner is resetting. I really should have just left these. I tried pinging the Pantheon to stay, but maybe I should have pinged differently, like used different pings. Very unfortunate that Kayn does get those, but I can't really respond in isolation. Not, at least not yet. This build does have a massive spike at 2 items. You really feel it once you get the Storm Surge and the Sork Boots together. End up trying to steal 1. And then here I do something very specific to Kayn. I'll let the fight play out. Mord Viego trying to run me down. I have Ghost. If Viego tries to press W to stun me, he's going to self-slow himself, so I'm just fine at this point. He tries to speed himself up. I just run to the Giga Chad Bard, and he gives me some coffee, and it's a beautiful day. But anyway, the Kayn specific thing. So when Kayn ults you, you can kind of guarantee where he's going to leap out. And the way you do that is what I just did there. So you don't need to ghost, but I just needed to position there sooner. So I needed to get there faster. But you just run into a corridor, and more often than not, the Kayns are going to jump towards their teammates or towards their base. As you saw, he jumped out towards the river because I was bringing him into my jungle towards my teammates. And the second he realized that, he's like, oh, I made a mistake ulting you. I gotta get out of here. And I just threw the needles where he would have jumped. It's not a guaranteed thing, but it works more often than not. Kayn players don't really play around it. You can kind of just mind control them and make it look like you're playing on their POV as well when they do leaps like that. Alright, just more clearing. Mordekaiser has a free setup on my top laner. So I want to bush strat here because there's not really a reason for Mordekaiser to think I am here. We didn't go through river. We went through the lane and we trinketed every single bush. I really just want my Warwick to go walk up, like go play laning phase, right? Like have Mordekaiser press Q on him. And even though this is very forced, we end up getting the kill very easily. I'm just going to ult this to make sure he can clear it a bit easier. And then we saw Kayn on the bottom side of the map. So my idea is that this dragon is 100% theirs. I'm not going to go rush and try to fight for it because it is theirs. They signed their name for the dragon. I signed my name for the Mordekaiser kill. Pantheon doing a beautiful 1v1 there. Actually, Bard got the assist. Did he give him some juice? He must have. But since Pantheon has to recall, I'm going to take it upon myself to get this wave. I realize that I'm overstaying quite a bit here, and I don't want to give anyone any gold, so I decide to execute, giving the tower the kill. This looks really dumb, but I was just really worried about Kayn walking towards me or Seraphine coming to press Q on me. I just didn't want to give gold, and I wanted to make sure I got the 2 plates and got the wave because that is just so much economy in my pocket that it's worth it for me to just be off map for this small amount of time, as well as me trusting this Pantheon to at least check if Kayn's over there. I didn't expect him to ult. I expected him to maybe like walk over there and press Q, scare him off, but he ends up finding the full kill. Alright, but more camp cycling. This is just very standard jungle gameplay. Again, this build starts coming online at 2 items, so you're kind of just a Master Yi until that point. You don't really want to look for fights or kills until that point, unless you have things like Pantheon, Warwick, just high CC that's guaranteed. Alright, but I try to help bot there. Pantheon doesn't even need me, he's so ahead. So again, camp cycling, this is very important. Just having your camps timed. If you end up struggling with keeping your camps cycled and timing them, I highly recommend getting one of those timers. You can use literally like any third-party program. Back when I first started League, there was this thing called Curse of Voice, and it was basically Discord without the group chat function. Or sorry, the like channel function. There was only group chats and the calls. And one of the little features they had was that they timed Baron and Dragon. Even back in the day, Baron and Dragons didn't have timers, and Riot ended up sending a cease and assist, or like a, hey, you can't have jungle timers because it's so OP. And even now, it's like crazy just to see that entire shift from Riot. But we find the Kayn here. We end up trying to go for the Mord before that. Unfortunately, can't get him. And now I'm just stalling. Beautiful Bard ult from him. I'm just going to get out of there. I see some action happening, but this is a very ult-reliant build and playstyle. You are just assassin Gwen with less gold than normal because First Strike is just not a scaling rune anymore. I'll keep singing its praises and wishing its return, but for now, we're just waiting for Riot to change their mind on it. But Aether Wisp, Hextech Alternator, very nice build to have right now, but we're still just trying to get to that Storm Surge because that's when we can actually just start playing TDM at that point. Here's a small little misplay. I should have gone to Wolf's Gromp in blue. Because cycling is so important. Like, the blue buff spawns 5 minutes from now, but the Gromp and Wolf spawn in 2. So it's way more beneficial for me to go Wolf's Gromp blue and then look here. Because even now I desynced my Wolves with my Gromp, and that's just not good. Just look at that damage before the Storm Surge, by the way. It's insane. He did heal a little bit, and I did miss a handful of my needles on that last set. But even then, like, his health bar just depleted on that Electrocuted and Sudden Impact proc. There, I have no clue what happened to my Q. I think she minion blocked me, and it pushed me off her model to the point where my Q just whiffs her. But we're still finding the kill on her. Mordekaiser, barely living. Pantheon tries to shoot a spear. It does hit, but not enough damage. And I see my Warwick on the Rift Herald. I'm just going to clear Krugs, and then I can go assist them. Oh no, I go Dragon. Yeah, I guarantee, or I trust that my Warwick has it. It's very low. I saw that in the left-hand side of the screen. But just look at that movement speed. 424 base, and then if we walk into a bush, it goes to 509. There I mess up my little trick. You can E and W there, and you won't get knocked back by the dragon, so you can burst it just a little bit quicker. And speaking of burst, goodbye, Kayn HP. Gonna pick up the Viego here, and here I'm just trying to stall for time, thinking, please save me, but Bard did everything he could, and I did not have my leap up just yet. That is a misplay, by the way. If you think that the enemy jungle is in the vicinity, or they are going to contest it, never do that little dragon trick. Because your W is such an important thing. I was hoping I could just steal it, or sneak it and go. But that was just not the case. They were far too close, and that is my mistake. Alright, but third item, we are going to potentially look for the Shadow Flame. If we get a massive amount of income, you can pivot over to the Death Cap. But we're not accelerating ourselves too crazily. Like, there's no, like, 1,000 gold bounty to collect and instantly get into that D-Cap. So I'm more content with the Shadow Flame because it just provides more flat penetration. I believe it goes to 45 pen for us, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong on the exact number, but so much flat pen is so OP because no one on the enemy team is really stacking MR. And even if they do, we just buy one Void Staff and then we have a percentage amount and then a flat amount. Just look at that damage. Also, really cool interaction. You can do this against Kayn, Vlad, and I think Fizz Trollpole. If you do your burst and they use their invulnerability move, the Storm Surge still does the damage. It's super nice, especially against Vladimir players. I've gotten so many kills off that. My Bard freezing the wave here. He's thinking that I'm going to collect it, but I want to make sure Warwick is as happy as he can be. I really island him this game, and even though I did help him, he kind of got himself screwed over early game, and I still did that Mia ping, so I'm just a little worried about his mental, even though we are ahead. Again, I think this is a small little miscalc by me. I should have gone Krugs into the red here. That being said, though, the later the game goes, the less it matters, because once you really get like 3 and 4 items, everything just gets Thanos snapped. Like, those Krugs were already evaporated. It was just smarter for me to go to Krugs then to red, because I would have been able to potentially look for the Seraphine kill with my team. Beautiful Seraphine ult by her, but my team is going to keep committing and find the Seraphine. I'm gonna look for the Viego here. I end up ghosting just to guarantee the kill because I just want to go to the next thing, and the next thing is Baron. So I want to confirm the kill as quick as possible. I really don't want my team to potentially chase it down because I just need my teammates here to help me on this. It is a little scary here because just look at the damage, but thankfully we have our W, we have Pantheon to tank, we have Bard to tank, and I can just DPS this very consistently and safely. TP does come down from the mid lane. I'm a little nervous when Bard falls here because I think, oh no, it might be over because Pantheon is just getting nickel and dimed by that Baron, but Wei gets scared off by our Warwick, thankfully. I'm just gonna go cycle more camps. I can't get the Shadow Flame yet, so I just want to get these camps off the map so I don't have to come back here right when I recall. And this should be Large Rod. Yep. 4 out of 5 Ultimate Hunter stacks that Wei has dodged us the entire game. I believe we got close to 1 kill, but then he got away. But yeah, here, Viego is the only one on the enemy team with MR. The rest are just taking basically true damage. And even when they build the MR, I can just Void Staff if too many people are stacking it. Right now, it's just Viego, so I really don't care that much, because I think just the flat pen is enough to deal with him, because he's also not crazy ahead. And if he switches champions, he does lose that MR, because no one on my team has the MR. Here's a massive misplay from me. We end up killing the Kayn. I thought when I engaged, I insta-killed the Mordekaiser. I really thought he was just gone off my screen, and I thought my Kai'Sa was somewhere else. And it turns out she was in the Death Realm dying to Mordekaiser, but just completely like deer in headlights there. I had no clue Mordekaiser went and did the 1v1. I thought when I EQ'd that I just dealt that much damage with ult. But we're going to pick up the mountain here, let it live at a pixel, because I can't calc damage. And you guys might be thinking that when you build Lichbane, you do lose out on tower taking potential. But Nashor's versus Lichbane is not too crazy of a difference. Yes, I'm dealing less damage, but that initial hit with Lichbane just is so much that it doesn't beat Nashor's, but it can catch up to Nashor's for tower taking. Granted, if you have 6 grubs, Nashor's is just gonna 10 out of 10 times like be the better option. But you're not really ever going to build around that idea. It's just going to kind of happen in your games. Here I see the Mordekaiser. I just want to do a damage check here. And just look at that. Even if Mordekaiser presses W in that situation, my Q is just enough. TP from the enemy here, I just want to play back. My ult's down, so I really don't want to fight. I end up walking forward because I just want to try to get my Pantheon out. That was a very dumb thing of me to even consider, because Viego passive, and I just int myself. But here we're going to pick up the Shadow Flame, 45 flat pen. That is insane. At 3 items, at 26 minutes, we are negative 45. Seraphine, if you guys didn't check in the top left, had 43 MR, and Kai'Sa has 46. And then Kayn here has 54 or 51. It's hard to see on my computer screen. It's just, they are taking true damage. It's insane. Here I have 1,000 gold. I was thinking I was really close to Majai's, but I'm still 100 off. The optimal buy here, in my opinion, is Void Staff, but we end up going the decap, I believe, next for the dopamine of higher number. Because I'm very certain that this is still in the game. If it's not, then what I'm about to say is incorrect. But if you bring someone below base MR or armor, so if you bring them into the negatives, you're dealing more than true damage. That used to be the case back in the day, and to my knowledge, they've still never patched or changed to that. So bringing them into the negative zone is actually a damage amp on top of itself, so we can 40% Kayn's 50 MR, bring it down to, what is it, 30? It would be 30, yeah. Bring it down to 30, minus 45, he's negative 15 MR. But anyways, right here, team fight, and just watch this amazing Bard ult. I end up throwing out a second set because I just want to see how much damage the third set does, and just look at that damage. Unfortunately though, because we just wanted to see the 5-man ult, I don't have enough damage to actually finish off the enemy team because I threw first and second set. If we didn't do that, we second set and then third set, more often than not, at least 4 of them are dead there. But we do get the Seraphine away. Someone on my team calls FF. We hit no. It's not a big deal. Bard says, my bad, I messed up your ult, and I'm thinking, no. I just wanted to see what was up. I knew Bard stasis them all. I just really, really wanted to see that final set of needles hit the opponents. But yeah, look at that electrocute damage. It was 1400 and then sudden impact 700. Sudden impact does not get as much value in the jungle as you would like top or mid, where this build would normally be played. But it's still a solid amount of damage and worth taking over the other runes on that tree. Alright, but here we're level 16. We just deal so much damage that it just doesn't matter. Watch these health bars, man. It is insane. Seraphine is going to attempt to flash out. And here comes the longest chase ever. Seraphine W, Seraphine Root. It's like she's gone here 10 out of 10 times, but she just stalls me. Thankfully, she walked towards some bushes, so just like running from Rengar, the bushes are her downfall. I start spam pinging this because I really don't want them to chase the Viego and have him do a Viego moment. They end up getting Kai'Sa, so our damage is lower for this Baron. I end up wanting to double dip here on the Baron and the Dragon. Kai'Sa really would have helped with this situation, so I really wish that they didn't chase that Viego kill. But what I'm going to end up doing here is I'm going to bring this to a low HP, I'm going to smite it, and I'm just going to insta-move. I don't need to secure the last hit here because no one can be here in time. Mordekaiser was the only one that respawned, and he does not have teleport, and he can't really come into the pit in time. So here I'm just going to try to DPS this as quick as possible. Hindsight 2020, I should have saved my smite and just let my Pantheon Bard deal with the final like 2.5k, because Pantheon Q does crit on lower targets, so they would have finished that just fine, but that's just a small optimization. I'm just kind of nitpicking because it's 30 minutes into the game and I'm running out of things to talk about because we're just farming, looking for enough for our death cap, and then we're just going to end the game. Death cap here. 766 AP. Just a super high number, especially for this split specifically, just because they cut out 10 AP here, 20 AP here. So it's just harder to hit that 1k threshold. So having 700 at this stage of the game in this split is just absolutely insane, so long as you're not named Vigar, because Vigar just always gets that. At this point, I'm just sitting around. I want to just damage test, because this is probably my 5th game playing with this build, and it's really fun. I really enjoy it. This was the best game I had out of it. I really prefer this in the jungle, just because you can do things like this. End up getting hit by that Q, unfortunately. But, this build is really nice in certain matchups. Things like Fiora and Camille just get destroyed by this. Camille just always loses. Fiora, the lane becomes more manageable. But I'd say things like Set become much, much more difficult, to the point where I played against so many Set players, I ended up going Conqueror and then just building this same build. And it was much, much better than this Electrocute setup. So if you're against something like Set, I highly advise testing this build out just from the Conqueror page with bone plating. But any like brawly thing that's going to not all in you, so like Fiora to nickel and dime you with Grasp, Camille, things like that, this setup works really good because your small poke is now dash for your E empowerment, auto your sudden impact procs, auto Q electrocute procs, and that's just so much extra damage. Here, Seraphine is just going to mindlessly walk into me and just look at that DPS. Enemy team is just getting melted. It doesn't matter if they're a tank, if they're a Yuumi, they are all dying just the same exact way. And that's because we have so much pen that everyone seems like they have the same HP bar, because we deal so much max health damage that it just ramps up so quick. And with that, that is the game. My team played amazing, and not really much to say outside of that. Here we're just waiting, get the Magi's, make the build look all pretty for the potential thumbnail. Seraphine spawning in 3, and it just does not matter. Alright, and there we go. Hope you guys enjoyed. Like, sub, comment, something about a bell, and I will leave you guys to the endgame stats later.
Just like the good old times.